For centuries, the Galactic Council had ruled over the stars, an alliance of powerful alien species who governed much of the known universe. The Council had been formed to ensure peace and order among the countless planets and races that spanned the galaxies. Many of these species were ancient, with technologies far beyond anything humanity could imagine. Earth was seen as nothing more than a primitive, unimportant world. The human race was young, still learning how to use the power of the atom, still struggling with wars, famine, and division. To the Galactic Council, Earth was a curiosity, a tiny dot on the edge of the universe. But that was all changing. In the last few decades, something unexpected had happened. Humanity had taken a giant leap in technological advancement. Where once Earth was isolated and weak, it now stood on the verge of exploring the stars. Human ingenuity had created spaceships that could travel across the solar system and beyond. The Earth had sent probes to Mars, Jupiter, and even Saturn's moons. Scientists and explorers, driven by a dream of exploration, had begun to unlock the secrets of the cosmos. It was only a matter of time before humans made contact with the galaxy's other inhabitants, and when they did, everything would change. At the heart of the Galactic Council, a group of aliens met in their vast, floating chambers. These species, ranging from the sleek, glowing figures of the Sphoral to the towering, stone-like beings called the Cataract, had ruled the stars for millennia. They were used to power, to control, and to having their will unquestioned. But now, the growing presence of humans in space had begun to stir fear among them. They had heard whispers of humanity's advancements, rumors of a new energy source, strange new technologies, and ideas that threatened the delicate balance of power they had maintained for so long. The Earth is becoming too bold, Zthar, the leader of the Sphoral, said in a voice that echoed across the chamber. His form shimmered with a soft blue light, his translucent skin glowing as he floated above the ground. "We should have destroyed them when we had the chance," growled Tarkin, a hulking Cataract who stood at the edge of the table. His deep, gravelly voice was filled with contempt. "Letting them advance this far was a mistake. Now they think they can challenge us." "We underestimated them," Zthar agreed. "But we cannot let this continue. If we allow Earth to grow stronger, they will become a threat to our control. A species like them, with such potential, must be kept in check." The Council fell silent as the weight of Zthar's words settled over them. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council was worried. They had faced countless challenges over the eons, wars, rebellions, even natural disasters that had nearly wiped out some of their members. But never had they faced a species like humanity. Humans had something different. They had resilience, they had determination, and that made them dangerous. "We must act," Zthar continued, his voice firm. "We can no longer ignore Earth. We will send an emissary to them, demand that they cease their space exploration, and ensure they never pose a threat to us. The human race must know its place in the universe." The other members of the Council nodded in agreement. They had the power to crush any species that dared to challenge them, and they would make an example of Earth. They would show humanity that, no matter how far they reached into the stars, they were still nothing more than a primitive backward species, weak and insignificant in the face of true power. But there was one thing the Council didn't know. Earth had already seen them coming. In the deepest, most secretive corners of the Earth's governments, a group of humans had been working for years, preparing for this moment. They knew that the Council, with all its power and arrogance, would one day turn its attention to Earth, and when it did, humanity would be ready. The Council's emissary would arrive soon, and they would demand Earth's surrender. But they would not find the fragile, weak humans they expected. Instead, they would find a species that had spent years quietly building its strength, learning from the stars, and preparing for a day when their place in the universe would no longer be up for debate. While the Galactic Council discussed its plans, unaware of the strength building on Earth, humans were quietly preparing. The leaders of Earth knew that they were facing a critical moment in their history. They had heard rumors of the Council's growing concern, and they knew it was only a matter of time before the aliens came to confront them. But instead of fearing their fate, Earth's leaders had decided to turn the situation into an opportunity. At the heart of Earth's secret preparation was a group known as the Earth Ascendant. This small but powerful group consisted of top scientists, military experts, engineers, and diplomats. They had one mission: to ensure that humanity's place in the galaxy would no longer be questioned. The Earth Ascendant had spent decades researching alien technologies, studying what they could learn from the stars. It had all started with a simple goal: to survive and protect their world. But as they dug deeper into the knowledge of the cosmos, they realized something even more important. Earth didn't just want to survive, it wanted to thrive. And they could do that, if only they could unlock the right tools. Dr. Elena Voss, one of the leading scientists of the Earth Ascendant, sat in a quiet room beneath the surface of the planet. Surrounded by holographic screens, she reviewed the data that her team had gathered from deep space probes, alien artifacts, and intercepted communications. She leaned back in her chair, her eyes focused as she reviewed a particularly strange piece of technology they had recovered from a distant planet. It was a small device, not much bigger than a human hand, but it had capabilities beyond anything humanity had ever imagined. This could be the key, Dr. Voss whispered to herself. For years, Earth's top engineers had worked in secret, studying alien technology and applying their own ingenuity to unlock its mysteries. It wasn't just about building better weapons or more powerful ships. The true goal was to create something that would give humanity an edge no one else could match. A new kind of technology, one that could influence not just the physical world, but the very minds of those who came into contact with it. Dr. Voss had been working on a project that she believed would be the turning point in humanity's rise to power. It was called the Neural Influence Network, or NIN, and it was an advanced form of technology that could directly connect the minds of humans and alien species. By using this technology, humans could influence the thoughts and emotions of anyone they interacted with, creating a deep sense of understanding, empathy, and trust. The NIN was a powerful tool, not for destruction, but for peaceful persuasion. It was designed to break down barriers, to remove fear and prejudice, and to foster cooperation. But its true power lay in its ability to convince others that humans were not weak, not primitive, and certainly not to be underestimated. The Council might have thought of Earth as a small, insignificant planet, but through the NIN, humans could show them just how much they had grown. While Dr. Voss worked tirelessly to perfect the technology, others in the Earth Ascendant were preparing the next phase of the plan: human diplomacy. In a high-security facility in Geneva, diplomats from around the world gathered. They had been briefed on the situation and the potential arrival of the Galactic Council's emissaries. These diplomats were trained to negotiate with the galaxy's most powerful beings, but they were also trained in the art of patience. They understood that the fate of humanity rested on their ability to hold their ground and present a united front. "We must remain calm," Ambassador Gregory Stein said to the group, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. "We've prepared for this moment. The Council will come, but we will be ready." His words echoed through the room, and a sense of determination filled the air. The diplomats knew that the Council would expect humanity to submit to their demands. They would arrive, confident in their power, expecting to intimidate Earth into surrender. But the diplomats were not afraid. They had been briefed on every possible scenario, every piece of intelligence gathered from the stars. They were ready to make their case. They were ready to show the Galactic Council that humanity had something no other species had: the drive to improve, the ability to adapt, and the sheer will to survive. The humans had learned from their mistakes. They had witnessed the devastation of wars, the destruction of their environment, and the struggle to build peace among themselves. They had faced great challenges, but each time they had risen stronger. Back in the Earth Ascendant's underground laboratories, a team of engineers prepared the final phase of their secret project. They worked quickly but carefully, knowing that every second mattered. The moment the Galactic Council's emissaries arrived on Earth, everything would change. But it was not just Earth's survival at stake anymore. It was humanity's future in the stars, and they were determined to make sure it was a bright one. The day had finally arrived. The Galactic Council's emissaries were on their way to Earth. The news of their approach spread quickly through the planet's communications networks, and the entire world held its breath. People wondered what this visit would mean. Would the aliens demand Earth's surrender, or would they recognize humanity's strength? Whatever the outcome, it was clear that the world was about to change. As the Council's massive ships entered Earth's atmosphere, the sky was filled with their strange, glowing forms. These ships were unlike anything humanity had ever seen, sleek, shining, and almost alive in their design. They hovered over major cities, casting shadows over the streets. Their arrival was a spectacle that drew the eyes of every human on the planet. The ships were so advanced that even Earth's top engineers could only marvel at the technology they possessed. Yet, despite their impressive appearance, the emissaries had no idea what they were about to face. The alien delegates had expected resistance, but they had not expected the calmness with which humans received them. Instead of military forces assembling or large crowds protesting, Earth responded in a way that left the Council members confused. The moment the ships touched down, the world's media channels switched to the live broadcast of the event. Millions of people watched in awe, but there was no fear, no panic. Humans simply stood, waiting to see what would happen next. As the alien emissaries descended from their ships, they were greeted not by soldiers or diplomats in formal attire, but by ordinary citizens, people from all walks of life. There were children, teachers, workers, artists, and scientists, all standing together as a united front. Above them, large screens projected messages in many languages, each one saying the same thing: "Welcome to Earth." The lead emissary, a tall, shimmering being with eyes like twin stars, stepped forward. He had expected to see trembling humans, ready to submit to the superior alien forces. But instead, he saw calm faces and steady hands. There was no sign of fear. "We come from the Galactic Council," the emissary's voice boomed, transmitted to every corner of the planet through loudspeakers and communication devices. "You, the human race, have been growing far too quickly. We demand that you halt your advancements. The stars are not for you. Your place is on your planet." There was a moment of silence. The emissary's words rang out, but there was no immediate response from the humans. No cries of fear, no signs of surrender, just quiet anticipation. Then, one by one, the humans began to speak. From a large screen above, a human leader, Ambassador Gregory Stain, appeared. His image was projected for all to see, and his voice was calm but firm as he addressed the aliens. "We have no intention of halting our progress. We have spent years preparing for this moment, and we will not be intimidated by threats. We seek peaceful cooperation, not submission." The emissary blinked in surprise. He had expected Earth to fall in line, just as so many other species had. He had expected fear, weakness. But instead, he saw something different, a strength he had not anticipated. The human leader's words rang with sincerity and confidence. "Your technology is impressive," Ambassador Stain continued, "but it is not what defines us. What defines us is our will, our ability to overcome every challenge we face. You may have ruled the stars for centuries, but you have forgotten one important thing. Humans do not give up. We fight for our future, and we fight for each other." The emissary glanced at his fellow delegates. They were just as confused as he was. What kind of species were these humans? They had no powerful weapons, no advanced technology that could rival their own. But somehow, there was an energy about them, a unity that made them feel far more dangerous than they first appeared. Then something unexpected happened. A human woman, an artist named Isabella Torres, stepped forward from the crowd. She had never been in the spotlight before, but she had a message that needed to be heard. She raised her hand, and the screams above shifted to display an image of Earth, its oceans, its mountains, its forests. The beauty of the planet was stunning, and Isabella's voice came through the loudspeakers. "This is our home," she said softly but clearly. "We cherish it. We fight to protect it, not just for us, but for every living thing on it. We are not like the other races you may have encountered. We do not conquer, we do not destroy. We create, we build, and we rise again when we fall." The emissary's eyes widened. He had never heard such words from any species. The human woman's sincerity was unmistakable. It was clear to him now. Humanity's strength did not lie in its technology, but in its spirit. For the first time since arriving, the emissaries of the Galactic Council began to doubt their own assumptions. They had thought Earth would be easy to control, a small, weak planet that would bend under their pressure. Instead, they were facing a species that had no intention of bowing down. The human race was far more complicated, far more resilient than they had realized. And as the first wave of the Council's emissaries looked out at the gathered crowd, they realized that their mission had just become far more difficult than they could have ever imagined. The Galactic Council's emissaries had not expected Earth's response to be so calm, so determined. The meeting was far from over, and as the representatives of the Council tried to understand the humans' resilience, they also began to feel something strange stirring within them. Something they had never encountered before, a deep sense of empathy, a connection they couldn't explain. The humans were not only resisting, they were reaching out, trying to build understanding. Back on Earth, in the hidden laboratories of the Earth Ascendant, a new kind of weapon was being activated. This weapon was not a laser or a bomb. It was something far more subtle and far more powerful. The Neural Influence Network, NIN. A project years in the making, the NIN was designed to create a peaceful connection between minds, allowing humans to communicate in a way that transcended language, barriers, and misunderstandings. It had been developed to help humanity better understand itself, but now, it would be used to send a message to the Galactic Council. Dr. Elena Voss, who had worked tirelessly on the NIN, stood before a massive terminal. She was the one who had made this moment possible. "It's time," she whispered to herself as her fingers danced over the controls. She activated the NIN. Immediately, the system hummed to life, sending out pulses of energy that spread across the planet. These waves were not destructive. They did not tear apart buildings or break apart anything in their path. Instead, they sent a gentle, calming pulse, designed to affect the minds of anyone within range. It would allow humanity's thoughts and emotions to reach the aliens directly, and it would make them feel something they had never felt before: understanding. The emissaries on Earth suddenly stopped. The lead emissary, who had been speaking to the human leaders, felt a strange sensation wash over him. It wasn't pain, but it was an overwhelming wave of emotion. He tried to fight it, to focus on his mission, but the feeling was too strong. It was as if every thought he had was being gently pulled out of him and replaced with something else, something human. On the outskirts of the city, a group of scientists and engineers watched the data coming in. They could see the influence of the NIN beginning to take hold. The pulses were reaching the alien delegates. There was no violence, no aggression, just a shared sense of connection. "This is it," said Dr. Voss, watching the signals on her screen. "We've done it. The NIN is working. We're showing them what it's like to be human, to feel what we feel." The emissaries, once confident and in control, were now stumbling. The lead emissary could no longer hold his thoughts in place. The voices in his head, human voices, started to speak to him, filling his mind with images of Earth's history, its struggles, its victories, and its dreams. The alien was forced to relive the moments of humanity's greatest achievements: the Apollo moon landing, the first peaceful resolution after world wars, the compassionate acts during natural disasters. He was flooded with human emotions: pride, hope, love, but also pain, loss, and regret. He saw Earth's struggles with poverty, its wars, and the fragile peace humans had fought so hard to maintain. He felt the urgency in humanity's drive to explore, to understand, and to reach out to the stars. The feeling was unlike anything he had ever experienced. It wasn't the cold logic of his own people or the detached rationality of the other races. This was something far more raw, more powerful, something that transcended intellect. It was emotion. The emissary's thoughts were no longer his own. He saw the humans as they truly were, not as weak, primitive creatures to be controlled, but as beings with a vast, untapped potential. They were capable of so much more than anyone had given them credit for, and yet in the flood of emotions, he also felt their vulnerability. He felt their fear, not of the alien ships or weapons, but of losing their home, their place in the universe. For the first time, the emissary understood. He understood why the humans had fought so fiercely to protect their world, why they had refused to be silenced. He felt the connection to their planet, their love for it. This wasn't just a species trying to survive. This was a species trying to thrive, to make a better future for themselves and for all the life they had nurtured. As the sensation passed, the emissary looked at his fellow delegates. They, too, were struggling. They had all felt it, the connection to Earth, to its people. Some of them began to speak, their voices unsteady. This is not what we expected," the emissary said quietly. His voice trembled slightly. "They are not what we thought they were." The council had come to Earth with a singular goal: to show their power, to remind humanity of its place in the universe. But instead, they had been shown something they had never anticipated: the power of human spirit. It wasn't a force that could be measured in weapons or ships, but it was far stronger than anything the Council had prepared for. Back in the Earth Ascendant's headquarters, Dr. Voss and her team watched the results of the NIN. The system was working perfectly. They had not used force to change the minds of the aliens. Instead, they had shown them what it meant to be human, to feel what humans felt. And in doing so, they had planted the seeds of understanding. The Council would never look at Earth the same way again. The emissaries of the Galactic Council stood in stunned silence. Their minds were still reeling from the wave of emotions they had just experienced. They had come to Earth expecting to encounter a primitive, easy-to-control species. Instead, they had met a people whose spirit, resilience, and capacity for empathy had shaken them to their core. The connection through the Neural Influence Network, NIN, had been unexpected, but it was undeniable. The lead emissary, his once confident posture now faltering, looked at his fellow delegates. Each of them was deep in thought, processing the powerful emotions and images they had just been subjected to. These were not just images of Earth's wars or triumphs, but of the human heart, its deepest fears, its greatest hopes, and its dreams for a peaceful future. I have never felt anything like this before," the lead emissary murmured, his voice quiet, almost reverent. "They are not what we thought. They are not just survivors. They are fighters, creators, dreamers." The other emissaries remained silent, their eyes reflecting confusion and awe. They had come to Earth with a sense of superiority, convinced that their advanced technology and vast knowledge would be enough to make humans bow before them. But instead, they had been forced to see humanity's true strength, something they hadn't anticipated. The ability to overcome any challenge, not through sheer force, but through unity, love, and resilience. In the human camp, Ambassador Gregory Stain had been watching the events unfold from a secure facility. He had been briefed on the success of the NIN. And now, seeing the aliens struggle with their own feelings, he allowed himself a small, quiet sigh of relief. The humans had done it. They had shown the Council the truth about their race, and in doing so, they had proven that Earth was no longer a helpless, backward world. But the battle was not yet over. The emissaries might be feeling conflicted, but the Galactic Council was a vast and powerful organization, and the delegations from other species were likely still firm in their belief that humans had no place in the stars. "We need to keep pushing," Stein muttered under his breath. "We've made them feel, but now we have to make them see." Meanwhile, in the heart of the alien ships, the lead emissary turned to the communication console, his fingers trembling slightly as he prepared to contact the Galactic Council. His people were waiting for his report, eager for him to deliver the news of their mission's success. But how could he tell them what had just happened? How could he explain that, instead of showing Earth its place, they had been shown their own limitations? "I must speak to the Council," the lead emissary said, his voice firming with new determination. "There is more to these humans than we have seen. We must reconsider how we approach them." Back on Earth, the Earth Ascendant team was already preparing for the next step. Dr. Elena Voss, who had designed the NIN, was already working on a new initiative. "The NIN has worked," she said as she addressed her colleagues, "but we can't rely on that alone. The Council must understand that Earth's future lies in cooperation, not in submission. We need to show them that we are ready to work alongside them." Her plan was simple, but it would require immense effort. Instead of waiting for the Council to make the first move, Earth would extend a hand. They would show the galaxy that humanity was ready to join the intergalactic community, not as a subjugated race, but as an equal partner. Voss's plan involved a proposal for an alliance, a mutual exchange of knowledge, resources, and culture. She would send a team of human diplomats and scientists to the Council's homeworld to establish a foundation of trust. It was a risky move, but the time had come for humanity to step out of the shadows. "Prepare the message," Voss said to her team, determination in her voice. "We will offer them peace. We will show them that we are not the weak species they believed us to be." Meanwhile, Ambassador Stein was in constant contact with the Galactic Council, updating them on the situation. The emissaries had returned to their ships, and Earth was waiting. The tension between the two sides was palpable, but the humans remained resolute. "We are not here to challenge your authority," Stein said firmly in his message to the Council. "We are here to offer our knowledge, our resources, and our abilities. Humanity has learned the hard way the value of cooperation. We want to join the galaxy, not as your subjects, but as equals." The Galactic Council, receiving Stein's message, fell into a deep silence. Their leaders had never encountered such a bold proposal. The power they had relied on for so long seemed to falter in the face of humanity's audacity. For the first time in centuries, the Council members began to question their assumptions. Could humanity truly be an equal partner in the stars? Could they offer something of value beyond their homeworld? After a long deliberation, the Council's response came. "We have seen your strength, your spirit." The message read, "You have earned our respect. Humanity's future in the galaxy is yours to shape. We will meet with you soon to discuss the next steps." It was a victory, though not a final one. The battle for Earth's place in the galaxy was far from over. But for the first time, humanity had been seen, not as a threat, not as a weakling, but as a race capable of standing alongside the stars. And with that, Earth's future was no longer a question. It was a possibility. The moment the Galactic Council's response arrived, Earth held its breath. For years, humanity had fought for survival, for understanding, and now they were on the cusp of something greater. The message from the Council, while brief, held immense weight. "Humanity's future in the galaxy is yours to shape. We will meet with you soon to discuss the next steps." Ambassador Gregory Stein couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. The words "respect" and "future" stood out in his mind. The Galactic Council, a group that had once seen humanity as a speck on the map, had now acknowledged them as equals. It wasn't a full victory, but it was a step, a huge one. At Earth Ascendant's headquarters, Dr. Elena Voss and her team worked tirelessly. The NIN had shown the aliens the heart of humanity, but now, Earth needed to prepare for what came next. Diplomacy, cooperation, and trust would be the cornerstones of their future with the Galactic Council. Earth had already proven that it wasn't just a planet to be controlled. Now, it was time to show the Council that humanity had the wisdom to join a much larger community. "We need to make sure we're ready for this," Dr. Voss said as she paced in front of the giant screen. The team was compiling data, gathering resources, and drafting proposals for the upcoming meeting. This is more than just a meeting of minds. It's the beginning of a new era for Earth. Ambassador Stein, back at the diplomatic headquarters, was already working on the message that would be sent to the Council. It wasn't just about offering humanity's strengths. It was about forging a new path, one that didn't rely on submission or control, but on respect and mutual benefit. "We have to make it clear," Stein said as he reviewed the draft of the proposal, "that humanity's place in the stars is earned, not granted. We're not looking for favors. We want to work together." The human proposal was simple but powerful. They would offer their knowledge in renewable energy, their medical advancements, and their understanding of the Earth's ecosystems. In return, Earth sought access to the advanced technologies of the Galactic Council, techniques that could help reverse the damage humans had done to their environment and provide the tools to explore the galaxy. For the first time, humanity was looking beyond its own borders. The planet was no longer isolated. Earth was ready to be part of something bigger, something beyond the stars. In the Galactic Council's headquarters, the message from Earth arrived. The delegates read it carefully, their minds still processing the recent events. The emotions they had felt through the Neural Influence Network, NIN, had left a deep mark on them. These weren't just rational beings, capable of taking logical decisions. They were feeling creatures, much like the humans they had just encountered. There was something about the human spirit, something intangible yet powerful, that made them different from the other species in the galaxy. The lead emissary, who had once been so certain of his mission, now found himself questioning everything. He had seen the humans' capacity for emotion, their strength in the face of adversity, and the deep sense of love they had for their planet. The NIN had shown him that humanity was more than a threat. It was a species capable of great things, things that could be valuable to the entire galaxy. "This message," the lead emissary said, "it is not just an offer. It is an invitation for us to join something greater than ourselves." The other council members agreed. The proposal was unlike anything they had seen before. Humanity didn't want to dominate the stars, nor did they want to be controlled. They wanted cooperation, exchange, and mutual growth. It was a vision that aligned with the Galactic Council's ideals of peace and progress. "It's time to meet them," said the lead emissary. "It's time to see if we can build something together." Back on Earth, the preparations for the meeting were already underway. Stein, Voss, and the rest of the human delegation knew that this would be the moment that would determine humanity's future among the stars. They had proven their worth, and now they had to make the Galactic Council see that they were not just a curious species, they were a valuable one. Their offer wasn't just about technology or resources. It was about the chance to build a future where every species could thrive together. The diplomatic team had gathered in a large conference room, the walls filled with screens and data. The world watched as the human delegation prepared for the arrival of the Council's representatives. This would be their chance to demonstrate everything they had worked for, to show the aliens that humanity was ready to contribute to the galaxy, not just as survivors, but as equal partners. "We are ready," Stein said, turning to Dr. Voss. "We've shown them our strength, our spirit. Now we need to show them our wisdom." As the minutes ticked down to the moment when the Galactic Council's representatives would land on Earth, there was a sense of anticipation that swept across the planet. This wasn't just a meeting between diplomats. It was the beginning of something that would change the course of history. And as the Council's ships descended toward Earth, the people of the world stood together, united, proud, and ready for what was to come. The day had finally arrived. The world was watching, united in anticipation. The Galactic Council's ships were descending toward Earth, their massive forms cutting through the atmosphere, casting long shadows over the land below. It was the moment humanity had been waiting for. After centuries of struggle, uncertainty, and isolation, Earth was about to take its first steps into the larger universe. Ambassador Gregory Stein stood at the front of the human delegation, his heart pounding. This was the moment that would define Earth's place in the galaxy. The Galactic Council was sending representatives, beings from the farthest reaches of space, to meet with humanity. It was a chance to prove that Earth was more than just a planet of survivors. It was a world capable of contributing to the greater good of the stars. "We've shown them who we are," Stein said, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside him. "Now, we need to show them what we can offer." Dr. Elena Voss, standing beside him, nodded. She had worked for years to develop the Neural Influence Network, NIN, and other diplomatic strategies. Today, all of her efforts were coming to fruition. The meeting with the Council could change everything. Humanity wasn't just asking for technology or resources. They were offering their ideas, their knowledge, and their spirit of cooperation. It was a partnership they sought, not a submission. The Earth Ascendant headquarters buzzed with activity as the Council's ships landed outside. The human delegation had spent weeks preparing, organizing every detail, every word, every gesture. They had to be perfect. Humanity's future was at stake. In the sky above, the alien ships glowed with a strange, otherworldly light. The Council's representatives were now on their way. They had already acknowledged the strength and resilience of humanity. Now they would meet in person, face to face. As the first Council member stepped off the ship, the crowd fell silent. The lead emissary, the one who had felt the full force of humanity's emotions through the NIN, was the first to speak. "Humans," he said, his voice calm yet powerful, "we come not as conquerors, but as collaborators. We have seen the strength of your hearts and the depth of your spirit. We have heard your message, and we are ready to listen further." Stein stepped forward, extending his hand. The gesture was simple, but it held so much meaning. The humans were not here to bow down to the Council, but to stand beside them, shoulder to shoulder. "We offer you our knowledge," Stein said, "our willingness to learn, and our commitment to peace. We know that we have much to gain from the stars, but we also have much to give." The emissary took Stein's hand, a symbolic gesture that marked the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. The crowd around them erupted into quiet applause. The world had watched as Earth took its place on the intergalactic stage. This was no longer a planet standing in the shadows. It was a world that had earned its place among the stars. Dr. Voss stepped forward next, explaining the projects humanity had worked on: clean energy solutions, medical advancements, and the preservation of their planet. She spoke with a quiet passion, making it clear that humanity was not just asking for help. They were offering help in return. Earth had something to give, something the galaxy could benefit from. "As we move forward together," she said, "we hope to share the knowledge we've gained about sustainability, about healing, and about unity. Together, we can build a future where no species is left behind." The representatives from the Galactic Council listened intently, their expressions thoughtful. The NIN had given them a glimpse into the human soul, but hearing these words in person, seeing the sincerity in the eyes of Earth's leaders, solidified something in their hearts. They had been uncertain at first. Would humanity truly be a valuable ally? Now, they were no longer unsure. The leader of the Council, a tall figure with eyes that seemed to shimmer with knowledge, stepped forward. His voice echoed across the crowd as he spoke. "Humanity has shown us more than just strength," he said. "You have shown us what it means to have a future, one where all species can stand together, sharing in the beauty and knowledge of the universe. You have earned our respect, and it is clear that you are ready to take your place among us." The crowd cheered. It wasn't a victory over anyone. It wasn't a battle won. It was something much greater. It was the beginning of a new era. An era of peace, collaboration, and shared knowledge. The lead emissary turned to the Council leader, exchanging a look of understanding. It was clear that the days of viewing humanity as a mere curiosity were over. The humans had shown they were capable of great things, and the Council recognized that. They were no longer a species to be controlled or feared. They were partners. "We are ready," the lead emissary said. "Let us begin this new chapter together." And with that, the first official meeting between Earth and the Galactic Council began. It was a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. Humanity had stepped into the stars, not as outsiders, but as equals. As the meeting continued, discussions about trade, cultural exchange, and mutual cooperation filled the air. The future of Earth was no longer a question of survival. It was a question of growth, opportunity, and unity. For the first time in human history, Earth was no longer alone. And as the sun set over the horizon, the people of Earth knew that this was only the beginning. The stars were no longer distant. They were within reach.